FIFA 18 is here, dragging us away from our Call of Duties and Destinies and back to a world where the shooting is slightly less lethal and quite possibly slightly more accurate. You know the drill by now. Every year EA Sports will tinker with the gameplay but try to avoid any fundamental changes, which means that if you're a legendary talent you probably won't need to relearn everything for the new season. But you might well need to work out what changes might give you a bit of an advantage across FUT and good old online head-to-head matches. For those of us that aren't rolling up to World Championships, working out how you can move up the skill levels is probably the priority, with the game improving exponentially when you climb into the heady heights of world class. One thing's for certain, you can never have too much good advice. So TechRadar is here to give you our take on how you become a bit less Ali Dia, look him up kids, and a bit more Deli Ali. In fairness, anyone that's played FIFA on the more difficult levels over the past few years knows the importance of patience, but FIFA 18 is doing its utmost to prove that pace isn't the only attribute that matters, and that means that constant sprinting, as tempting as it is to keep the trigger button pressed, is not a very good plan. By shifting the ball around in the midfield you pull the opposition around and create the spaces that the even more powerful playmakers can exploit with through balls. We'll also be talking about defense, where if you are too eager to dive in or even just try to nick the ball, you may well end up on the wrong end of a spanking. Defending in FIFA has been much harsher on slide challenges in recent years, and FIFA 18 is no exception. As satisfying as that crunching last-ditch slide feels, the truth is that leaving a player on the floor out of action and position creates a gap for the opposition to exploit. Slide challenges still have a place, and a well-timed lunge once in a while can create the counter-punch needed for attack that reap immediate benefits. But this should be the exception and not the rule, unless, of course, you're furious about that red card injury, the weather, and just want to wreak havoc. Then it's fun. Worth noting as well that the slide challenge seems even less powerful in 18 than it did in its predecessor, although at this stage that may be down to our Luton Town defense. Everyone who's ever played football knows the need to play the ball and then move into space, and from our time on FIFA 18, quick passing is the key. Obviously keeping an eye for runs forward is important to breaking the opposition lines, but lingering on the ball is a real no-no, and you should always be thinking one pass ahead, even if that means going backwards or sideways. Using the right bumper for 1-2s is really handy for this, triggering a run and making those overlaps all the easier to create. One of the new features on FIFA 18 is a quick substitute system that allows you to make a plan change without the rigmarole of going through the menu system. That means that should you know your brilliant 18-year-old superstar has all the stamina of a kindergarten kid, then you can make sure you can quickly swap him out for your grizzled old veteran while see out the game. It's easy to set up the substitution before the match and then just hold of the right trigger during breaks in play to make the change. If you haven't set up any subs, then the game will try to guess the likely change by offering up the most tired or injured player and the likely replacement from your subs bench. If, like Dido, you want to be a hunter again, well, you can. It's your game, you can do whatever you want. But our advice would be to have a proper go at the game in other modes before beginning the journey. Part 2, aka Alex Hunter's next career stage. Ultimately, if you're playing at the level most appropriate to your skill, you're going to run into some tricky tasks in the journey, so it's nice to be up to speed on all the new tweaks in gameplay. Look, you'll almost certainly be turning it off at some point, but the trainer mode, particularly the movement and mechanics setting, is not a bad thing to utilize when you're getting yourself back up to speed or just shaking off a bit of FIFA rust. This mode will show you shot elevation and a pass receive indicator. If you're even newer to the game, you can set the movement buttons to be reminded of what you're supposed to be pressing when you want to pass and shoot. Keeping your eye on the ball just doesn't cut it when you're defending on FIFA 18. Nope, you've got to be ready to spot every run and potential pass and marshal your players to cut out the obvious routes and close things down. Again, when a winger escapes your fullbacks, you need to be more aware of the channels and the centre forwards than chasing them down. Then when you get turned over in midfield, you simply have to spot the quick lofted through balls or you'll be punished.